This is Christy Littlejones of MyRelationshipRevolution.com, where we ignite a radical, sudden, and a complete change in your relationships. Thank you for joining me. Heart to Heart with Christy is a safe place for married couples to take off the mask and show up real. Here is where you will experience a sudden change in your marriage through radical skill-building techniques, as well as action-driven strategies and exercises designed to bring deeper connection, better communication, more fun, faith, and friendship in your marriage. So this week's topic is on offense. I don't know anyone who has been in a relationship who has not been offended, especially those of us who are married, right? Can you raise your hand if you agree? Well, today I want to talk to you about the cycle of offense and the importance of understanding it, but also recognizing that the seed of offense left undealt with can grow up into a full-blown tree in your marriage and wreak havoc. Not only does it cause distance and separation, but oftentimes the little seed of offense left undealt with causes divorce. So I want you to all understand what the cycle of offense is, and so you can actually see how it has affected your marriage. So the first step, or the first thing that happens after offense, is shock. I'm not sure if many of you are aware of my testimony, but one day I received an email from a woman that said, "Christy, I don't know if you know who I am, but I'm no longer dating your husband." Yes, shock was the first thing that I experienced after the offense. So shock is the first stage in the cycle of offense. The second stage is anger. And believe you me, I don't know any woman who is married who would not be angry after reading that email, right? So the second stage is anger. Then the third is sorrow. Sorrow is deeper than just sadness or, I'm feeling a little blue. Sorrow is the deep soul sorrow that just embeds itself in your heart. So after an offense, sorrow is the third stage. The last one is acceptance. It's kind of this place where, okay, you've come back to reality and you recognize that, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I've dealt with. So in my situation, when I read the email, "I'm no longer dating your husband," and I went through the stages of anger and, of course, the deep, deep sorrow, I came to a place of acceptance. And that is, okay, this isn't a dream. This isn't a nightmare. This is reality. And when I recognized that, I decided that I wanted to fight for my marriage. And that is why I'm here today, even to help other marriages overcome offense. And so what's interesting about the cycle of offense is that you can bounce back and forth from any of the stages. So going from shock to sorrow, back to shock, going to anger, going to acceptance, and then back to anger is very normal. It's very common. And most people think that this cycle ends with acceptance, but it doesn't. The cycle of offense, after you go through these 4 stages, you have to make a decision. And this is where most people miss. This is what most people miss, and where they miss out. Because after offense, it is imperative, it is necessary, it is critical for you to make the decision to forgive. Forgiveness is the 5th stage in the cycle of offense. And the thing is most people think that they'll feel like forgiving. I did not feel like forgiving my husband. It was not an emotion that came to me like, "Oh yeah, I just want to forgive him." No, forgiveness is a decision. You have to make the decision to forgive when your spouse offends you. before you can experience healing, before you can even move past the offense, you must decide to forgive. And not until you forgive do you experience the healing that is necessary to bring just reconciliation and restoration back between you and your spouse. So there are six stages of offense. So the first one is shock. Second one is anger. Third one is sorrow. Fourth one is acceptance. Fifth one, after making the decision, is forgiveness. And then the sixth stage is healing. And so I want you to think through even some of the offenses that have taken place in your life, and you can actually identify the cycle where you were in the cycle. It's amazing. And so I have a call to action for you this week to all of my amazing couples who want to experience more fun, faith, and friendship in their marriages. So the first radical action-driven exercise is to make a list. I want you to make a list and identify the offenses in your marriage that you are still holding on to. The ones that you are still holding on to, because we hold on to offenses because we feel like it gives us power, or we may feel like our spouse needs to be punished. So I don't want to release this offense just in case they forget how much they hurt me, right? I know. Second action-driven strategy is I want you to start small. So once you look over your list, I want you to make an intentional decision to forgive your spouse for one of those things that you're still holding on to. And it may not be a big offense like infidelity. It may be something like your spouse was supposed to pick something up for you at the grocery store, and it was something that you needed for your kids' school project or for a big event that you were having at the house, and he forgot. That's still an offense that you need to be conscious and aware to make the decision to forgive. So I want you that's the second one, to look over your list and start small with an offense that you're still holding on to and make the decision to forgive your spouse. And then the last action-driven exercise or strategy is to recognize the freedom, the peace, and the release that you experience when you make the decision to forgive. Because if forgiveness does not take place in your marriage, you do not want this seed of unforgiveness to grow up into a full-blown tree, because I promise you, it will not be pretty. It will hinder you from experiencing your marriage the way God intended. So I am really excited about this week's challenges, because next week we actually are going to, or the next session that we're in for Heart to Heart with Christy, we are actually going to talk about how to forgive, because most people think that they're supposed to feel like it, and nobody ever feels like forgiving. So I hope that you stay tuned and you'll be able to connect with me on that session as well. But in the meantime, if you are interested in receiving more of these Heart to Heart with Christy messages and challenges for your marriage, please go ahead and grab your cell phone, and you can text the word heart, HEART, to phone number 703-260-7100. And this will get you connected to receiving our weekly easing with the Heart to Heart with Christy messages. So thank you again for joining me for Heart to Heart with Christy. I really appreciate you, and I believe in you and your marriage. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.